Hi, I'm Natalie and this is James, and welcome aboard our floating home Zephyr. Over the past 5 years, we've been on an incredible journey sailing around the world, accompanied by our 2 trusty dog crew members, Flint and Kira. Join us every Friday for a new video documenting our adventures. Don't forget to subscribe and be part of the journey. She going for a swim. She doesn't need it, she's such a good swimmer.
Do you want a life preserver, Flinty? There we go, our 2 dogs are alive.
Safety first, right? Safety never takes a day off, guys.
That is the cutest thing ever.
For the past couple of weeks, it's been one thing after another with our poor boat Zephyr. Maybe this is when all the gremlins start coming out. A couple of weeks back, we discovered a coolant leak that had gotten pretty bad. And a few weeks before that, our water maker decided to pack it in. Since then, we ordered a part for our water maker, which we fixed in last week's video, and we ordered the part for our engine to fix the coolant leak. Whilst we wait for this part to arrive, we wanted to see how bad it really was under motor. We needed some fuel and water anyway, so we tried the small hop from anchor to dock to really have a look at how much coolant is leaking.
Tonkin Marina Fuel Dock, this is Zephyr, over.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. We'd love permission to approach your dock to get water and diesel.
You go ahead and come in.
Copy that, we'll be there in 1 minute.
That's Eric, our friend Eric.
Eric, yeah. Alright, I'll go get this number out.
Yeah. Just when we thought nothing else could go wrong, as I start to put the anchor down, I notice that the windlass is skipping and then stopping altogether, right about here. Something's happening.
Yeah, you changed twisted.
No, it's not. It's not.
Oh, don't force it.
It's just, it stops every so often and does that. So every...
She does it. Yeah.
Okay, well that's everything. We are back at anchor now. But 2 more things have arisen from that little go to the petrol station and back. Now our windlass is acting up. So when we go to put it down, it's like skipping, or maybe it's the buildup of mud, we don't really know. But that needs a clean and I guess service. And then the other thing that's happening is the coolant leak that we have in the engine is getting out of control. Like just from here to the fuel dock was really bad. A ton of fuel, a ton of coolant leak. So those are our 2 priorities now. A bit of good news, our total bill was $200, and that included 6 diesel cans, 5 gallons each, and 2 petrol for the dinghy. So that was pretty good, and apparently the prices have just gone down today.
Yep.
So I think we got diesel at $5.16 or something like that a gallon.
Cheap, yeah.
Which is really good.
Cheap for the Bahamas.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so as Nat said, there are two issues that are still persisting on this boat that are really important to make sure that this boat can go at any time, no problem in the event of any emergency, and just they should be fixed regardless. So Nat mentioned to you our windlass is playing up. Not a big deal. This particular issue happens all the time. Basically, we've been anchoring in a lot of clay here in Marsh Harbor. It gets in the chain, it gets in the windlass, gets mixed up into the gypsy, and it just causes the gypsy not to perform very well when it's going down. So basically I'm going to remove that and clean it all up and it'll work fine. The other issue is the coolant leak. So that has become a huge issue, but one that is easily resolvable, thank goodness. So essentially what it is the water pump on the front of the engine that circulates coolant and water has a small crack in it. That's what I found out. So I've ordered a new water pump from the States and I'm going to have it freighted over here. The leak is not crazy, but it's enough that we would have to top up the coolant probably every hour. So by all means not insane, but definitely enough that you wouldn't want to do lots of motoring under those conditions. But yes, so we got a new one on the way. It's going to be shipped into the Bahamas. It's costing us a fortune because there's like huge amount of taxes that get thrown on. It's like 65% all up on top of the price by the end of it. So yeah, that kind of sucks. So now I'm just going to get onto the windlass. I'm going to give it a good clean and hopefully that resolves our issues. Let's go. Puppies. Stay. I just threw some buckets of water on them because they're getting pretty hot. No, 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 no. Stay, Flinty. All right, let's check out our windlass. As you can see, lots of mud around the windlass. It's not that we're lazy, we don't want to keep it clean, just this is how bad it is here in Marsh Harbor. And I think part of the issue too is we hadn't actually used the windlass for, I'd say, the better part of 2 weeks. So I'm sure just some grit and stuff was sitting there and yeah, just needs a clean. That's usually what the problem is. So let's get straight into it. If it gets super dirty like that, we had the problem in the ICW as well, coming down the east coast of the States. After being in so much mud, it would just get stuck like that. Good clean, solves it all. I am going to clean up all this now, but I'm not going to bore you with that, but a quick test. And she's working perfect again. On to the next job. Hey, so today is a super good day. We have received a very special package, which contains our new water pump. This is what happens when you buy official parts. They are looking good. Look at that. Goes like that on the engine. That's where the pulley is. All the hoses go here. The thermostat goes on the top. This thing feels super well made, and it should cost like 550 bucks. So we could have gone a cheap knockoff, but we didn't. We went for the real deal Yanmar part, and yeah, it looks really good. Anyways, we are going to install this very shortly. I think it's in my wheelhouse, so we're gonna give it a crack.
Before we dive into our water pump installation, let's tackle setting up our wind scoop for the very first time. It surely can't take this long to set up, can it?
Alright guys, so here we are, we're at the engine and we are going to do our water pump install. This water pump is the original water pump from this engine, so that's 14 years it's been on here. I think that's a good run. A few of you in the comments have just been sort of saying, hey, why don't you just replace the seal where it's leaking, or buy the rebuild kit. I had considered all that, but my concern was that we spend our entire lives on this boat. We cover thousands of miles every single year, and if we get caught out because, you know, that seal wasn't very good quality that we changed, or, you know, anything like that, and this, you know, this is 14 years old, this water pump, you know, it's well past its life, so I felt it was prudent that we change the whole thing. I will keep the old water pump just as a backup. You know, for the amount of cruising we do, it just seemed it was a logical decision here to replace the whole unit and go with a proper Yanmar part instead of a knockoff aftermarket part. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Let's get stuck into it.
Fenty, what do you think about this? You got your toolbox ready? Good job. Good job.
The first thing we're going to do is drain all the coolant out of the heat exchanger. The second thing we'll do is we'll loosen the alternator and remove the belt, and then we'll start removing all of the hoses you see here, the thermostat. So a good trick before you remove the belt and the alternator bracket here is to undo these 4 bolts on this wheel first, because it holds the wheel in place. Otherwise this is just free spinning and it makes it much more difficult if these bolts are tight. So we'll use this to our advantage. So we're going to do these 4 bolts next. I'm going to take a quick photo of everything so I know exactly where it all goes back. So as you can see, if we go like this, look at all that play. There should be no play in that whatsoever, which is obviously all the bearing and the seal in there is all worn away. You know, people have been adjusting this alternator, which puts tension on that pulley, you know, for 14 years. So, you know, somebody's had the boat before us. We don't know whether they had too much tension or not. But I think for the most part it's probably been okay because it's lasted 14 years, but that is definitely a huge concern. It should not move that much. So yeah, look at that.
Wow.
Okay, first up, let's get the alternator bracket off. Nice. So now we're removing the thermostat. Okay, there's our thermostat. Now we'll take this sensor off. This bracket, and then this hose. This hose I'm a little worried about.
Yes, so am I.
We'll see how we go. Alright, this one is the one that this is, out of all this entire process, this is the thing I was actually worried about.
Yeah, because there's not much give.
Well, we can't trim it or anything like that.
No.
So it has to come off.
Maybe.
But yeah, this was always my major concern out of everything. All right, I think I will unbolt the engine and then we can, or unbolt the water pump and then we can twist it. Here comes the coolant. Oh, there we go.
Oh, nice. Is it coming?
Yeah, baby! Woo! I was so worried I was gonna break this hose because this is a specially shaped, you see the shape of that hose? That is a specially shaped hose like that on purpose. I have some more hose that would have probably got by, or I could have bought some locally, but
that would have been bad.
It would have been very bad because it would have been in the way of the pulley and the belt. I'm very happy about that. That was my nerve-wracking moment right there. Nat had many more, but that was my one. So let's get some paper towel out and have a little look at this. So obviously we need to take off these two pieces, and we have the thermostat. So if we look at the unit, this was where our leak was. And this, hear that? Bring it in nice and close. That is not good. Let me show you now the new one. If we look at this pulley, no play. No play. Has a nice smooth turn, but there isn't a single bit of play. Whereas we look at this one,
yeah, that's crazy, huh?
So we could have done a rebuild seal, but I think we would have had many more problems in the future. And that probably wouldn't have solved it. Yes. Oh, there it goes.
Oh.
The thermostat's still good. There's no point in using the other one.
Nice.
So we'll clean that and
yeah.
Put it in. It's still good, so. This part took two of us, but we got it. Woo!
Wow, that was cooked on there.
Oh yeah. But that is it. The only thing we need to take off is this. So that is all our parts. We're gonna clean them up, get everything ready, and then we're gonna rebuild the other one. So might take a 5-minute water break, get the dogs out, and then we'll get back at it.
Okay everybody, I am so sorry to have to do this, but this video will continue in next week's Friday's video because we ran out of space. The video's already super long. We've got to take the dogs to the beach. So find out next week on Friday whether the install goes to plan, whether the engine even runs after this. Still feel pretty bad, but I promise it's in next week's video. Okay.
If you'd like to be a part of the journey and become a patron, go to the link you see here on the screen. Another way you can support us is by hitting that subscribe button.